Hi, everyone. My name's Stephen Hattisides, and welcome to this new podcasting series, How to Drive Online Engagement and Conversion in Your Business. Now, a podcast aimed at bringing experts from all around the world that can share their experiences about hosting virtual and hybrid events, but also creating digital ongoing experiences that really drive that engagement, that education and conversion in your business. Now, I have a very special guest today, Nadine Jones from Rhino Events Group, an event management company that she set up that handles all facets of your event. Face-to-face conferences, hybrid and virtual events, incentive trips, product launches, production and entertainment exhibitions, seminars, gala and award dinners, corporate hospitality. What else does she not do? Unbelievable, but I managed to do it in one breath. How are you, Nadine?
It's a long list. I'm good. Hey, thank you for having me.
No, great. Look, and it looks like, you've had a lot of experience in the tourism industry, helping international brands really attain growth in Australia and New Zealand. So has that been a passion of yours in the tourism industry?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Tourism is in my blood. I started working and I started my own company when I was just 20. So it was a sales and marketing company looking after overseas brands and really helping them kind of drive, their market share within Australia. So predominantly outbound. But yeah, look, tourism for me is something that I really love. My family's still in tourism. I grew up traveling the world and doing conferences and events and attending them with my family. And then when I was older and running my own business, attending them as my own company. So it's definitely something that I found I really wanted to combine my experience within tourism and then the events sector. So that's where the creation of Rhino Events Group came.
Fantastic. And look, we've all been through a very interesting transition the last couple of years, having owned my own events company in the UK and the US. And then actually we made a transition about 4 years ago into running virtual events because we were early adopters because we wanted to scale our business on a massive international scale. It was an awards event. It was a big conference, and we wanted to get people that couldn't really afford actually to go to a typical, trade show or conference in Monaco or Paris. And so we launched these virtual platforms, and, everyone thought we were beyond our time. And again, it was a little bit for some people, they couldn't really understand it and adopt it. But, we got to our goals of having thousands of people attend a virtual event. And then obviously with a pandemic that hit, it sort of really shocked the whole events industry, didn't it, from all parts of the world. And they really put a stop on running any types of in-person events. And everyone had to sort of scramble to try and figure out how they could still keep their sponsors, how they could keep, running their businesses. So what was your experience in Australia in terms of the challenges that you guys faced?
Yeah, look, it was definitely, being in tourism and being in events, I just got hit from all angles. So, and I think the biggest challenges that we have was really pivoting things, and that's the key word that everyone hates for 2020, to a virtual model in such a short amount of time. And, having a platform like yours where you've got everything set up was just phenomenal to have access to that, because it made our lives a lot easier. So, the challenges, were, I think people initially were quite hesitant. They hadn't done a lot of interviews, or they hadn't done a lot of kind of video calls. So people were quite hesitant to put cameras on that we found at the start. But now, looking 18 months down the track, people are loving it. But we've now been in a world that we haven't been able to have that human interaction, that this is the best thing that we can do. But we also kind of found that, we're now a bit over the general just sitting on a call and, listening to someone speak. And, we want something a bit more interactive, a bit more exciting. And, again, that's kind of where we providing an interactive platform to the market that people can walk around like they're actually at a trade show or an event. Just creates that extra hype. And that's kind of what we've found in the last the last kind of 18 months, is that initially it was great, people were just sitting there, but now they're really wanting to say, how can we utilize these platforms? And I think from going from an in-person, like that was our expertise, face to face, that's what we did, to now having something that we can provide digitally is amazing. So I guess kind of moving forward with hybrid events, that's definitely going to be where things are for the next kind of 18 to 24 months at least. But I still feel that we're never going to go back to that normal. It's going to be that new normal of tourism, that new normal of travel and events. So how do we keep up with the times?
So with some of these challenges that events people had to face in terms of their in-person events, I mean, what we've seen is that a lot can still be done that you do in in-person events. But I think what we saw last year was, I think everyone was, because they didn't really understand virtual and hybrid. I mean, it does take a lot of work to put together a virtual event or a hybrid event. And I think a lot of events organizers tried to emulate exactly what they did in person. And a lot of the functions you can still do online, but it just has to be done in a different way, like the networking areas. I mean, the thing we all love about in-person events is the ability to go see colleagues, catch up, and a lot of the companies, the sponsors come in and they take everyone out for dinner, and it's that whole entertainment and that being part of an event with all of your colleagues. And I think, from my point of view, having attended thousands of events all over the world, I think, I feel, some of the challenges that events companies have sort of faced over the last 18 months, which has got a lot better, is really sort of understanding where virtual comes into its own in terms of the scale, but then in the in-person part, that it's still important that we have those in-person events to really sort of have that networking capability of catching up with friends, sponsors, being able to have that more intimate approach with a lot of those individuals that actually come to an event. But I mean, where do you see the future really going in terms of, I mean, I think we've established that it's crazy if events companies are not thinking of doing hybrid and they're just wanting to go back to their old traditional ways of in person. I think there's always got to be some hybrid. What do you think in terms of some of the features that you'll see will be improving, I suppose, with the hybrid approach and some of the advantages you can get from hybrid?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I think it's face to face is, as you said, it's always, we love that human contact. And like you, I've done so many trade shows around the world, and that was one of my favorite things. Every year we used to, like, myself and my colleagues from, whether it was Iceland, it was Cuba, it was Spain, Morocco, we all met in a trade show in Singapore. And it was just that every year I always looked forward to it, and I've missed that terribly. But kind of hybrid and virtual, the digital world is not there to replace the face-to-face, it's there to complement it. And it's about kind of how do we bring them both together. And I think, we've really got to look at certain things. Obviously, vaccinations is a massive thing. That, especially in Australia, there is a lot of kind of not pressure, but people their freedoms, they've got more freedom if they're double vaxxed. Now, how is this going to look in an events world? Is it going to be that, you can only turn up to an event if you're double vaxxed? What are the limitations? Are there quarantine if you're doing an international event? How long are those, how long are those staff members if they're having to fly out to, say, Australia? Are they going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks here and then 2 weeks when they get back to their own destination? So you're really looking at kind of how do it's not just we're always going to have that face-to-face element, but having an additional platform that you can run to broaden your horizons, broaden your reach of people, and also monetize the platform. And I think that that's a big thing as well, is that, if you're traditionally running an event just in Australia, your market is the Australian market, but why not open it up to America, UK, whether it's South Africa? You allow more people to come in and experience your products, whether it's a conference, whether it's events. And by having that platform, it gives the people that can't travel the opportunity to still attend. So you're monetizing the platform, which is a big thing that we're working with clients and companies to really show, hey, let's do your face-to-face event, but let's also have a hybrid version. Let's have a virtual version for the people that can't attend, or the ones that are still, in the next little, I'm going to say 12 months, there still will be people that do not want to travel, which is absolutely fine. But we want them to still be able to come. I think also as well, what I've been doing with the tourism sector especially is looking at how do we keep, the industries relevant and the industries up to date with, the tour operators, whether it's their, new cruising seasons or their product information. Are sales calls going to be kind of limited in the next 12 months or 18 months or, down the track? You look at, like, say, for example, I used to, one of my first jobs was on the road as a BDM. So I used to go around to travel agents doing that sales training, and I loved it, but you could only ever really do, 5 meetings, maybe 7, if you kind of, I guess, group them together in areas because of traffic. Now, if you look at productivity as well, you could fit in so many more meetings on a virtual world. Now, I'm not saying don't go out and see your best client. I'm saying, hey, let's have just this conversation, keep them up to date. And then you still go and see them, but maybe once a month instead of once every 2 weeks. So you're keeping your clients' product, their information, your selling material relevant, but, you're kind of also, you've got more time and you can see more people in a small amount of time. So I think that that's something that, I'm looking at a lot with tourism, is the training hub style of things. And I think also as well, it's because you're going to look at corporate companies and bigger companies that have a reduced amount of staff currently in this environment. And I'm speaking purely more in the Australian market. They're doing the job of 3 people. So if you have a platform that can provide an opportunity where, say, a supplier can keep their information up to date within a platform, so that your, say, travel agent is able to come into that platform and learn about that product, it helps. It's amazing for everyone. But you're also taking the pressure off that third party, whether it's a consortia, whether it's, that whoever's uploading information. You're taking pressure off them because the supplier actually has their own login to be able to upload there and keep it up to date for what they want. So you're not having to third party things either, which is, I think, fantastic.
I think
I
it's
think,
I think I was just going to
sorry.
butt in there on that. I think it is all comes back to how do we increase engagement, isn't it? And conversion could mean so many different things. It could be just getting a visitor on your website to something that's, getting them to fill out details, or it could be for them booking an appointment. Conversion means so many different things, but I think, you're right, through a lot of the things that you're talking about and through, a lot of the queries that you get is these brands, and you're talking about the tourism industry, is how now everyone's been stagnant for so long. Everyone's got a website. Every supplier's got a website. How do you really differentiate yourself in the marketplace? How do you get that point of differentiation where people, when they first of all come onto a platform, is that they're immediately wowed, they're engaged, and they are fine with giving their details away because you've done it in a way which is almost like a game, isn't it? And you can obtain that information. So
yeah, no, and I think that comes down to, also throughout the gamification of platforms as well, and the tracking behind it. So, a lot of people as well, like they love competitions, but putting that in an interactive way and getting them, as you said, to come to your virtual office, if it's the office space, and, book their consulting appointment, but also have that engagement where you can sell products as well. I think that's really important. They feel like they're there in a digital world. I think it's also, I guess, around people like to explore, I'm going to say. So having that ability to be able to walk around in a digital world to explore what you want to explore. Now, from a trade show point of view, that's something that I loved most. I loved my one-on-one appointments, but I also loved to just walk around and speak to different suppliers that I might not have had the opportunity to connect with. Now, in most platforms, you find that that's not possible. You have to book in your meetings, you have your one-on-one, but you don't have that opportunity to really go up to that, the booth and say, oh, I'm really interested in this product, and click on, their downloadables, watch a webinar, watch something like that. So that for me is something that, would really, it's that engagement, it's that excitement, creating that excitement, sitting on a 3-day conference, just speaking one after another. Currently, yeah, it's kind of, I want that human element, but having that more, versatile platform really, really kind of makes me interested and makes me want to attend. And I think that that's something is we need to still keep people, and we need to kind of get them engaging so that they want to come along and they come back again. And so making repeat clients as well.
Yeah, look, I think, what I start to see a transition, especially of events people that are running, it might be their own event. So if anyone's listening there who's an events person in a corporate company, or they run their own events and they're all about how do we attract more attendees. I found in the past, when I listened to a lot of events organizers, they generally made most of their money through sponsorships from companies. Where I saw, and I see the real future and benefit of virtual, is on your platforms, like your virtual platforms, because the scale is so large. I think it's reversed upside down, where you'd make more money from attendees, making it more affordable. So where you would have charged maybe $500 a ticket, it might be $99, or something that's more affordable. So countries from all around the world, they don't have to spend money on hotels and travel and things like that. And so I feel the sponsors, the companies, they like to be part of that virtual platform. And I think there's a lot of benefits to them, as you said, is being on a platform. So an events company allowing vendors to be on a virtual platform for 365 days and adding a ton of value for, members and attendees to access those vendors, to transact with them throughout the year, but also to have content on demand. And I think, again, the power of virtual, because I've seen it at these huge conferences you attend, there's so many things going on and you would love to attend everything. But most of the time you're just catching up with friends. And that's where I see the power of in-person events, is that networking part. But I feel the power of the virtual part is having access to international experts you would never generally get, that you can have on demand, and allow people, maybe it's 30 days, maybe it is for 12 months, depending on the license you have with that speaker. But yeah, that's where I've seen the transition. But I see that's where the huge benefit of, virtual and having that hybrid version is the scale.
Oh yeah, and I think, look, as well, the amount of times, and you speak to so many people in one event, like you've got hundreds of meetings over a whole week. How are you meant to remember everything? And as you said, if I could go back when I come home, and I could have a platform, one hub, one place where everything is, you normally they went from back in the day where you got brochures and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to carry these homes? And then everyone pivoted to, the little USB sticks. Now, I've got hundreds of USB sticks, but have I ever really looked at them? Probably not. You send that follow-up email. But if I had that one place that I could go and be like, oh, I need to speak to that supplier, or I really want to download that bit of information, it's up online for, as you said, depending on the licensing. But, if it was there for 30 days, 60 days, and I could go and click what I wanted and then actually say, oh, I didn't speak to that supplier, but I want to find out more, and then still have that going into the next step to arrange that one-on-one chat down the track as well. So we didn't get to speak at the trade show, hey, but I'm really interested in your products. It is, I think as well, like with a platform, it is a cost-effective way of running a trade show. And coming back to the sponsorship and, you know, advertising space for suppliers, I think it's fantastic. You know, if you can walk around a room and you can provide, you know, your suppliers to your group with, you know, little branding, whatever it is. But what you can also do, and kind of going into the data tracking, is that you can pull fantastic reports to send to your sponsors.
Yeah.
Now, to be able to do that and to say, hey, within this platform, you within the month of, you know, December, you got 364 people download your PDF. If you can give that sponsorship information to a sponsor, sorry, it's phenomenal. Those ROIs people can track. Now, that's something that corporate companies, you know, want to see where they're spending their marketing money, and be able to track it.
Yeah, I think on that tracking side, it's interesting. Yeah, because, you know, I remember, as I say, I've exhibited at lots of in-person meetings and conferences. Sometimes it is a bit embarrassing, you know, like they're walking past and you want to scan their badge. And, you know, and again, you don't really know what sort of brochures they're sort of taking away. You know, you'll say, you know, can I grab your details? You know, would you like some more information? And they might take a whole range of different brochures. On the virtual side, yeah, the benefit is, as you said, is it, you know, it already has an automatic badge scanner. So it collects that information if people visit that booth, but also depending on where they click and where they spend their time, that's the data that the sales rep gets from that corporate company to say, hey, delegate A came to your booth, went and looked at these materials. And what we've seen with a lot of corporate companies after their event, the ones that jump on those leads and really follow up with a targeted call saying, hey, I heard you, you know, it was nice to see that you'd visited this conference. You know, we were exhibiting. Thanks for coming to visit us. I saw that you were interested in these brochures after, you know, engaging with us online. And the success on that, from what I've seen, the conversion of taking a client with taking someone that was initially a prospect and going with them with targeted information on that initial sales call, the conversion has been 2-3 times. It's been great.
It's huge, and that's the thing, you know. We all still want personalized service in a digital world. Now, this is where we can actually, you know, as you said, get these have reports that can get to the sales reps, and you can target market the consumers or whoever it is, your trade partner, and that means so much more to people as well. You know, if I had someone say, hey, you know, thanks so much. And actually, I'm going to give you an example of a company that, it was a travel company. They came in to speak to me about some of their products. Now, the guy listened. I was obsessed with Sudan. Like, it was these pyramids that I wanted to see in Sudan. And he actually had one of the only tours at the time running to Sudan. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. After the meeting, I actually got a personalized postcard with a picture of Sudan that he sent to me. Now, I have always remembered that company because he personalized, he listened to what my passion, my love, and he personalized his follow-up appointment. And now, as you said, 2 to 3 times, it is huge. If you personalize something to a client, massive. And this is, again, where we're tracking does need to go, and it has on this platform. So I love it. I think it's I think hybrid, you know, where we've had to adapt, and it took a long time, I'm going to say, to find the right people to work with. But I'm so excited for what the next 18 months looks like. You know, I really think that we've got something good that we can really provide, you know, a solution to these companies that are struggling and not thinking about in-person events.
Yeah, look, for a lot of the listeners, you know, just to frame everything for everyone that's been tuning in, is Nadine and I have been speaking about, you know, the trade show side of things, where we've, you know, transitioned from in person to running virtual. Everyone was sort of pushed into just virtual, and now we're all sort of moving into sort of a hybrid world to really support those in-person events. Some people are going to continue to run virtual because they see the the cost saving benefits and the scalability of it. The other part that we've been talking about, which might have been a little bit confusing with some of you guys, is talking about ongoing virtual experiences. So it's very interesting for you digital marketers out there is, again, using virtual sort of platforms to really take the customer journey online to a completely different level. And we talk about these engagement tools, and Nadine brought up a fantastic example is, some of the companies that Nadine's working with are building out virtual sales offices. And so you can build your whole virtual ecosystem for your corporate company. And because we're all using Zooms and Teams and stuff, it sort of goes beyond that. It's like Zoom on steroids, where you literally have this virtual headquarters. You go into the lobby, you go into the different sales offices. But before that, you can go into virtual showrooms and learn about the products before I go in to have a sales call with, say, Nadine in her virtual office. Again, an extremely powerful way, but also where Nadine mentioned that she finds that she can get more sales calls done by doing things virtually. So again, we still want that in person, but then if you mix it in with virtual, you can get a lot more sales calls done and a lot of conversions. Now, for all the salespeople out there, we know it's a numbers game. So the more we pitch, the more we'll convert. So have a think about it. But, again, look at some of the stuff that, Rhino Events Group are doing now and going to be doing in the future, because it's pretty exciting. Some of the things that they're doing really for companies that want those ongoing virtual experiences, which is like an extension to your website, but it's a completely engaging environment. One of them is, sports, like a big sports stadium where they're using it as a training platform. And so you go into this great sports stadium, you go into the lobby, you can have your training in there, you can go meet the players in the locker room and take selfies. And it's this whole, immersive experience, which is where everything's going, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think that key word that you mentioned was immersive. Like, this is where people want. And you brought up a good point, and something that, having that, going into a locker room to kind of, whether it's to just look at a profile of your favorite player, or even go that step further and actually have like a Q&A once
you
a
would
week.
love to be in the locker room, wouldn't you, with your favorite football player, Nadine?
Oh yeah, maybe actually we'll go rugby because I'm a rugby girl. So
maybe you want one person for that one, but
yeah, maybe in person. I'll go for that. So, but yeah, look, I think it's every aspect. It's not just corporate companies. We're looking at sporting. You're looking at whether it's the beauty industry, whether it's the fitness, whether it's the building. Like, I think also as well, kind of the virtual office, as you said, it's a fantastic platform for ongoing solutions. And I think that, we need to not just, I guess, narrow it into just those big corporate companies. This is from small to medium to larger businesses. It can be scaled from everyone. So it's really, I think as well, what we like to do is understand our clients and understand their vision of what they want to achieve. And then what we do is tailor a solution for them. And I think that that's something, we don't put everyone into the same hole. We really want to see their vision and we want to execute it and put together, whether that is a hybrid conference, whether that's a face-to-face, whether it's, as you said, like an incentive trip. We do so many different aspects of the events and conference game. And yeah, look, I think that this is something that we're super excited to see more and more people jumping on board, and that we're able to offer.
I just want to focus a little bit on associations and industry bodies. I know, again, that's a focus, and you've got a lot of associations you work with. We've seen over the last 5 years, could even be longer, memberships were dropping. They were getting, less engagement at their in-person meetings. And a lot of, one of the reports that came out was the reasons why members leave an association or, a membership that they belong to. And a lot of it was almost over 50% didn't feel that they got any value from the membership. And about 42% said that they left because they didn't feel like they had enough engagement. And I think, with what you guys are doing with an online engagement platform that you can have available, an association can have available 365 days a year where the members can come into this platform and they can engage with the vendors, but most importantly, they can engage with themselves and network, right? And I think,
Yeah.
that's, again, apart from their annual conference that they run, which again could be hybrid, in person, got the virtual component, but we've seen huge transitions now by associations wrapping up a really good virtual platform that they can just absolutely hammer that engagement throughout the year, where everyone's winning, vendors, members, and the body itself.
Oh, I think, in associations, they're definitely, like a lot of industries as well. We'll take medical and fitness, for example. A lot of people have to be associated with an association, and there's also an element that they have to keep qualified every year. Now, that means that they have to either attend a conference, do training, do webinars, kind of, it depends on, obviously, the industry. But to be able to offer them something as well that they can, and as an association or a body, they have the platform and they can do their training and earn their CPD points throughout the year at their own pace. Now, that could be that you could do that one conference that you do, the annual conference, but during the year they've got somewhere that they can go, knowing that it's going towards their education and it's going to keep them relevant and to keep their qualifications up to date. And having that tracking for an association or a body as such that's looking after those members, to be able to see what they've watched, and you can go tick, 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 yep, they've done all their training for the year. It's amazing. And people, doctors are busy. Fitness people are up early, doing PT. So having them have somewhere that they can go and do it when they've got the time, knowing that they have to get it done within a certain specific, whether it's 12 months. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's something that we're really seeing a lot of uptake through those associations.
So Nadine, as we wrap up, is there any advice for those events companies that are running in-person events that are thinking about hybrid? Is there any sort of tips and tricks you can give them in terms of making it successful, the transition?
Yeah, look, I think it's, one of the biggest things is talk to your colleagues, talk to your, like we all work in events, but give us a call, and we're more than happy to kind of direct people to it. It is a bit overwhelming to start with. And I think that's, turning into virtual digital, like you've got to kind of, I guess, step off the plank a little bit to really, give it a shot. But you've got people around you, like yourself and myself as well, that are more than happy to engage and help people. We want to see these industries survive, and we need to work together. So I think it is, look at your visions, and figure out, I guess, where you see yourself in the market, and go after it. It's something that, we did take that leap, and it's been very successful for us. So.
Oh, great. Look, Nadine, I really, really appreciate it. If anyone wants to tune in, obviously, it will be Nadine Jones from Rhino Events Group, based in Australia, but they run and help companies from all over the world in terms of their events. So please reach out. There will be details on the website and social media if you do need assistance with that. But Nadine, pleasure to speak with you, and we look forward to our next podcast episode.